not the podcast you are looking for.
If you're looking for the same old content delivered by the same old people, you are on the wrong pod.
This podcast has life form. You are listening to Stache&lash.
You're listening to Stache&lash, the show where we talk about everything that unites us as Mexicans.
One living in the US and one living in Mexico. The Stache&lash Show. Is this thing on? Hi everyone, I'm good, my friend, my brother from another mother. How are you today?
I am feeling good. I'm feeling energized. Just again, doing podcasts with you again from the PBA side to the Stache&lash Show. Man, bring it on, right?
We're just like, okay, next project. What are we going to do? This is episode 3, everybody. Episode 3 of Stache&lash. It's happening again. I just want to take a moment to thank everybody for your kind words, your support. Every feedback helps. So thank you so much for watching, for listening, whatever you are doing with us. We are here for you. We're listening. And thank you so much. We are so happy to be here again.
I love that. Yes, we are listening. And that's why, again, don't hesitate to put some comments and say, hey, I really like this part. I love this section. I love this segment. Anything that you like, that you want us to continue, or you want to hear more, say, hey, I want to hear more. Just tell me more. That's how we, I guess we're still talking about horoscopes because people are interested about that, apparently.
Now it's me who's rolling the eyes. Like, yes, we are going to be talking more about horoscopes and a bunch of stuff. So
yeah. And again, Gabi, I put her out of the fire last time. I like that. I was like, all right, let me ask you a question. She's like, okay, I'm gonna be ready next time. So we're gonna get it built up, and eventually we'll get to that. We'll get to that segment here. And like I said, it might be a full episode where all we do is just talk about horoscopos with G.
With G. Horoscopes with G.
We're talking like this. We have to do this.
Oh, that's another episode, everybody. Just stay tuned for that. I don't know when that's happening, but we are definitely going to have an ASMR episode. We're like, hey, everybody, how are you today? So yeah, exactly. Is this thing on? Hi.
So a couple shout outs, right? We just want to thank everybody who's been watching us. Again, we just appreciate all the love. I mean, a lot of folks messaging us and big fans. So I just want to take this time to thank you. Thank you for encouraging us. Again, please interact with us so we feel that, hey, we're hearing you, right? We have a voice. We hear what you're wanting. We want to know. We want to make this better. This is for you, not for us. Because we could just talk anytime. I could just send a message. Hey, I got G, I need to talk to you, Prabha. I have something to talk to you, right?
Exactly.
What does my sign say today? I can easily.
Hey, I have like a huge meeting tomorrow. Please, what's my rating today?
What's my rating today? Am I going to have money?
Exactly. Okay, I see that you're going to have a great day and you're going to have money and you're going to eat tacos.
You're going to have a full stomach today. You know what though? I have more of the background of the horoscope because I have the skull and
I know.
I'm like the more, it's funny because I feel like this background belongs more in your background and your background belongs more in mine because of our, the kind of, again,
we
the
have
opposite.
To switch. Yeah, I mean, this
I want to
is
make us do like
exactly. And we're like, exactly. But maybe one day we can like pod together in the same place. That's going to be amazing.
We can pod. Yeah, studio SNL, right?
Exactly. SNL, yes, exactly. But
and it's not a trademark. We have the, it's not, it's different. Or SL, I don't know. We'll make it up. We'll figure it out. But today we were talking about, me and Gabi were thinking, and G were like, all right, G, Stache, aka partner in crime, aka sister from another mister. What are we gonna talk? We gotta have some cool topics here. And one of the things that we do from time to time, just reach out to each other, is when we see some documentaries or movies or shows that really really hit us. And I mean, G, you're really good at putting this in your Twitter, right? You're like, oh, this really got to me, or I love this, and you really share a lot of good stuff out there. And then one of them that came across was Bob Ross, and you said, oh my gosh, and you were literally in tears. And then I was like, you know what? Let me take a look at this because I remember him growing up. He was, I don't know, he was just the voice of, I think this is before ASMR even existed, right? Like he was very calming
Some people call him like the guru of ASMR because sometimes, if you haven't watched it, but I'm sure you already watched a couple of videos about Bob Ross
Oh
and
yeah.
painting or whatever, and sometimes he will be like, "And now we're painting a beautiful cloud and a beautiful bush." And yeah, exactly. Yes, yes, yes. And we're gonna talk
I'm
about
already
that
I'm already
already.
feeling relaxed.
Yes, exactly, exactly. Yeah, he's like so peaceful and
Yeah.
so calming. I don't know. And sometimes even before I saw the documentary, I was like, "Oh, I'm feeling like tense or anxious." And kid you not, I would go to YouTube and search for Bob Ross videos because it's so
Wow.
calming. I mean, I've never attempted to paint anything, but I was like, I just love it. I just love watching him paint and being so happy and the strokes and how he, it's amazing. So,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts about it?
Well, again, it was because of your, recommendation, that you
And
posted.
because I was in tears.
Well, that's another thing. I was like, all right, let me, I'm always very skeptical when G puts something in there. I'm like, I don't know about this. Let me check it out. And
Let me just see so I can like
I can make fun of
tell
her.
her she's like exactly. Yes, 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 yes.
And you were right. It was a really good documentary because again, I remember him growing up, but I did not know this whole story. So before we even continue and talk about this, because again, we are going to talk about those type of shows, movies, and things that we watch that we have in common. Hey, how do you see it in Mexico and in your surroundings, your culture? How do I see it here in the U.S.? We're going to have that type of dialogue, but also it could be some spoiler alerts, because this has only been out maybe this year, right? It came out this
Yeah,
year. If you haven't seen it yet, big
I think
spoiler
it
alert.
came out last month. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, very recent. Go watch it first if you don't want to, because first of all, gee, do you get upset when people spoil movies and shows for you?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because I think that's like a kind of like respect for the audience. Like, if you really enjoyed something, I always try to be like, okay, I watched this, I really enjoyed it. And I'm like, no spoilers, just go watch it and let
Yeah.
me know. And let me know. Because sometimes you see like amazing I remember, and I hope I'm not spoiling anything. I haven't watched it myself, but the last Marvel movie or something like that, I think you know better than me.
Shang, yeah, the new one.
Where the Thanos and the glove and
Oh,
the
that one. Yeah, yeah,
jewels
yeah,
and everybody
yeah.
started dying. I'm sorry, spoiler alert.
Oh, this is past the statute of limitations for spoilers. It's been over several
Okay,
years.
okay, yeah, exactly. It's like there's a time frame for spoilers or not.
Yeah,
Okay, I agree. I agree. And I haven't watched it to this day. I haven't, but I remember seeing a lot of people. Oh no, and this died, and I was like, whoa, this
yeah.
just got released.
Uh
To
huh.
all the hardcore fans, for example, Star Wars. We are such huge Star Wars fans, and I always because I'm a huge fan, but also because I don't want to get spoiled, I try to go to the premieres.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
I want to be the first to watch
Oh
because I
yeah.
don't want it, or I had to go from social media for a certain time because I know there are going to be like a couple of people that enjoy this kind of situations and I hate it. So please don't do that. Don't do that.
That's why we're saying, hey, spoiler alert right now, because we're within that threshold. And again, I'm gonna say, and let me ask you, and maybe everybody that's watching, do you have is there a limit, right, where you say, hey, this is past the spoiler alert, statute
You
of
can,
limitations? I
yeah,
would
I mean,
say if it's more than I give it a year. If you haven't seen something in a whole year, maybe 2 years, I'll give you 2 years at the most, but then shame on you, right? But if it's something within a month, within 6 months and all that, I mean, some people take a while to watch it. And again, for me, like again, your same example, I don't wait because I want to go watch it before it gets ruined
yeah,
for me because social
exactly.
media does that, right? So what is your threshold? What do you think?
I, I don't know. I think this time, uh, everything is accessible, and I mean, I don't want to like be like you should watch it legally or not. I'm not saying anything like that, but I'm saying is that you can watch. You can like have. I don't know. I say like a month.
Okay.
Maybe a month. Maybe a month.
That's where we're at, I think, with Bob Ross. But no, I think it's too
And
like,
the thing about what are we talking about right now about Bob Ross is that it, it some details might be like not of the public knowledge. Like for me, I was like super surprised about a couple of things,
yeah,
but I mean they're not like I don't know how to say it. Like they're not like super you know like when with another
shocking.
movie or another yeah or another situation that you are expecting and
Yeah,
the companies or the production team or whatever behind that are like so secretive from the beginning to
like
like
Marvel.
not
Yeah,
exactly or Star Wars or whatever
yeah,
you get these
yeah.
teasers here and there and you get like yeah, we're going to bring this character or we're going to do something like that, but you don't really know until you watch the final product. That's what yeah, I mean, this
Okay.
can be a spoiler in a way because if you haven't watched the documentary, you're like, yeah, we're going to talk about in depth about the documentary,
Yeah,
but it's not like a massive spoiler alert. Like we're not ruining anybody's lives right now.
that's true. I think I'm making it a bigger deal than it is what you're saying. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, but yeah, to your point, it's a courtesy. We're just gonna say it. Hey, because it might be maybe it was in part of your watch list and you have it because yeah, there's so much to watch out there, right? There's so much stuff, and maybe you haven't had that. So we'll give you that courtesy to say, hey, spoiler alert. If you're planning to watch this and you don't want us to spoil it for you,
Exactly.
then go watch it and then come watch us later. Okay.
Exactly.
There we go. That's what we'll do.
Beautiful.
That's we're trying to find our own rules here in this podcast, and that's already you know what that's going to be the G and Z rule. We're going to give you the courtesy to make that choice, and then come back and then join us in a conversation.
and watch us again and be like, hey, yeah, I agree with you guys, or
Yeah, or
hey,
disagree.
exactly, and I saw this, and maybe you didn't talk about this, and I thought this was relevant, and this was,
Yeah, yep, 100%.
you know.
Yeah. All right, so let's go right into it. That's plenty. Whoever was watching right now and had to make that choice, you made that choice. Congratulations. Go watch it. Come back. If you've already seen it, then let's get into it. Okay, so first of all, again, that's why I decided to watch it, is because I saw G post, and I'm like, hey, I know I grew up with this guy. It sounds like it's a really good thing. Maybe a little, I don't know if she's exaggerating with the emotional thing, but let me go check it out for myself. So I did. So G, tell me how you came across this documentary and what attracted you to watch it.
I am a very, again, huge fan of Bob Ross. In Mexico, I think he's a very well-known guy worldwide, but we're talking about like early 90s or something like that, right? Like in the time frame. And I remember we had his show in Mexico. I don't remember exactly when or at what time, but I remember me watching it. And I remember me being happy watching it as a kid. So yeah, he is a big part of my childhood memories, TV memories. If I can like name a few, like cartoons or shows, he is definitely in that list. So in Mexico, we did watch it. And I'm sure if you ask anybody of our age range, maybe like 80s, 90s, that we grew up in the 90s, completely. And he is a very huge part of my watching schedule as a kid. What about you?
So yeah, again, first you said that, and then I went back to my memory. Same thing. Yeah, I remember. A lot of times I think it came out here in the U.S. The channel that I can recall it coming out was, I think it was PBS. It was like a public broadcasting, station, and it was along with Sesame Street. I don't know if you watched Sesame Street. That was a big one growing up, and all
Plaza Sésamo for you.
Plaza Sésamo. For the Mexicanos, yeah.
For los Mexicanos, yeah, exactly.
For the Mexicanos. So, it was around that time. It was very educational. And for me, honestly, to your point, I was going to ask you that. Did you actually try painting? And I never did.
No.
I was so entertaining just watching him and just feeling relaxed and just in amazement in the things that he was creating within that. I don't know how long were the episodes? 30
half
minutes?
An hour.
Yeah.
There were half-an-hour shows. They say that in the documentary.
Yeah.
Like, how could you do those kind of landscapes, like very specific landscapes and very detailed landscapes in half an hour? And that's what he was good at.
Yeah. And again, I think, it was unheard of, right? Because of these painters, I think they even said, some of them that were professionally trained, it can take hours, it can take days, it can take weeks, right? For them
Specifically,
to kind of get it right.
yeah,
Yeah.
specifically the technique that he used, because it was I don't remember the exact terminology, but it's like wet, and the canvas was like prepared in some way. I don't remember exactly, but it was like a very specific technique, and it could be very tricky because if you don't have like the proper tools, or if you don't blend, it's amazing. And what he was able to do in half an hour, even though I would never try to, if I ever like attempt to draw something, I would just like make a cloud in half an hour, just like one cloud for sure. And it was amazing what he could do. And the calming aspect of it, I don't think like somebody like legit tried to do the exact same thing he was doing in that frame of time, but I think a lot of us just were like, hey, I need to calm the F down, so I just need to watch Bob Ross and listen to his voice and how soothing it was. And we're going, right? Wake up!
Oh, sorry, Abby, sorry. You know, for being the crazy horoscope lady, you have a pretty good, smooth, soothing, relaxing voice. It's pretty good. Maybe that's why.
Oh, really?
So, but to your point, it was very, a lot of people, it was therapy for folks, right? It was just something to calm them down, and maybe this is what this world needs right now. And maybe people are actually, hey, I bet you there are people that are still going back to his shows and using that to kind of calm down. Right? Like
yes, exactly. Like it just send out and like just close your eyes and listen to him. And I'm doing it again. And I'm talking.
our audience is going, what Bob Ross? Is there G? Is there like just soothing voices by G, right? But it's something to do with those voices. This is why I like hypnotists, right? Terapias and all that is also very helpful or even yoga, right? Or meditation. And I feel like it's like it's probably part of that family, right? So just chilling the F out, like you said.
Yeah. And something funny about the documentary also is that they touch on this specific topic because for some, it was like very relaxing and very calming, but for some, it was like even sexy. I don't know if you remember this part of the documentary when he had like a lot of female fans, because when he was even, I don't remember exactly the quote, but it was like if he was talking to a lady on his bed, like he was like talking like this and very calm and very passionate. And it's funny because I mean, we as kids, of course, we don't see it like that.
No, I didn't. No, right? Hopefully we didn't. We were.
No, of course not. Of course not.
But now when you're older, we're like, especially the men are like, okay, so what are you doing? Talking.
But that when I watched that, and now as a full 41-year-old woman, I was like, I can see that. I can see that.
Right?
And,
there's a lot of things that are, that people find attractive, right? Whether it's a voice, whether it's confidence, right? I mean, there's so many different things. And for him, it was a combination of the voice, but also the confidence. Like he just walked in and charisma, right? And then a lot of people think charisma is about like being the loudest and he was just very calm, very inviting. Like people just,
he was very likable overall. Like,
oh my gosh. I'm thinking of like Mr. Rogers también, right? Like he was like that kind of like just chill. Did you watch Mr. Rogers?
No.
No. What?
No, I haven't.
That's the difference. Yeah, Mr. Rogers.
Perfect.
That was like a Bob Ross.
I have to look that up. No, I haven't watched that.
Meets Sesame Street. So like if you're saying like a show. Oh, really? Oh, there you go. And I wonder how many people in Mexico even watched that. Maybe it wasn't big in Mexico.
I don't remember that. I know who he is. Oh, I know Mr. Rogers, of course, but I had never watched the show, so I have to look it up. Oh, and spoiler alert! This is a true spoiler alert of this show.
Uh-oh.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
That was not a real perm. He did not have the hair. His hair was like he didn't have that afro naturally.
No,
spoiler alert, he had it like
enhanced. Yeah.
So that was what, like, really funny. That was just at the beginning of the documentary because they
Yeah,
were
I
talking
was
about
shocked.
his they were
I thought it was real. I thought it was real,
they
but
yeah, they were talking about his character and how he went into the military, I think.
yeah.
And when there are pictures of him when he was younger and he had like very straight hair, and I was like, wait a minute,
Yeah, yeah.
wait a minute, that's not him.
It's so funny. I
And
was
then
thinking the same thing when I saw that. I'm going, "What?
what?
Like that's not
Exactly,
him. It looks totally
exactly.
different,
But
he looks
again,
totally
it's
different."
part of this character development, and how that charisma in him helped him like reach so many people. And I mean, to this day, if you think about him, the first thing that comes to mind is the afro, exactly. And it was very funny to me to realize that it was a perm. It was not
Yeah.
natural.
That was shocking
Hilarious.
too. I thought the same thing. And one of the clips that they first showed was him. I think it was Regis and Kelly. It was a morning show that's very popular back in the 890s. And they asked him right away, hey, what is that real hair? Is that or do you enhance it? And he made a joke, kind of assuming it is and it isn't. There was no clear.
It
He
was
would
never admitted publicly.
no.
It was never admitted publicly. Yeah,
No,
exactly,
yeah, and
exactly. And
unfortunately, too, towards the end of his life, right? Because of course, he passed away several years ago. But it's sad that he actually had to wear a wig, because he got to a point,
yes,
yeah,
yes. Unfortunately, he got very sick with cancer, and he lost all of his hair, and he had to wear a wig. Exactly,
yeah. That was
exactly.
also shocking to hear. For me, that's
Hmm.
what got me. I mean, so many things got me, but that was one big one. I'm like, oh man, dude, like you never want to see somebody going through that, but at the
Hmm.
same time, just can't picture, because he always and this is what you see with a lot of folks that go through that. It's that strength to be able to be like, hey, I don't want you to see me at my weakest. I want you to see me at my best.
Exactly, and that's
And
why a lot of people didn't know what was going on with him.
no,
That's another
no,
spoiler alert. I mean, we knew that he passed. I remember I was like, what, when, whatever. And he kept it a secret from everybody for so long. And he was like, I remember they also posted a clip of the last show, of the last
that also
happy
got me.
beginning.
Whoa.
Yeah, exactly. Where he was like, okay, this is it. We're saying goodbye, blah, 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 blah. But nobody knew exactly why. And yeah, he was like, closed doors. He was like, I don't want my people, my audience
My
to see me
audience, my
like this.
fans. Yeah, it's
Exactly.
hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
No, again, when you said those moments, yeah, and I was just like, yeah, that hit hard, like seeing
Yes.
that, and there was a lot more storylines, right? But let's just take it back a little bit and talk about some of the awesome stuff, that he did. We talked about his paintings, 30 minutes, right? Like that was blown, and it wasn't something that he created. Like his first mentor, one that he copied that technique, was that I think his name was Alexander, Bill Alexander, they said, and he
Hmm.
he was a little more aggressive, right? Not like
Yes.
Bob. He was like, oh no, to do this. He had like an accent and very just not as charismatic per se, but he did it in 30 minutes, and Bob was fascinated by this, right? Like, and he took it, something that already was amazing, and just made it even better. And I think for me, the biggest takeaway is, when you're something that you like or you passionate about, like if you see, like, hey, take it, learn from it, make it better, like make
Make
it
it
your own.
better.
Oh,
Yes.
that's the takeaway. The biggest thing for me, right, was how he took something that was already like amazing and just made it his
Yeah,
own.
and he did in his own, exactly, in his own way, his own style. And yeah, it was kind of a tribute to this other painter,
Yeah,
but on his very particular way. And I think he did it better. And it was so nice to see him being so cheerful and so happy. And he even, like, sometimes I love this part when he featured like little animals. Like, you remember when he had like little squirrels and little animals in the show, and he was like, "Hey, this is my little friend." Yeah, yeah, yeah. And yeah, it was
yeah.
so different from this mentor
Which
that
is
he was
more.
like, "Okay, we're gonna do a cloud,
It's like
and we're gonna do
blah,
blah blah blah."
blah.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. And he was like, "Okay, I'm going to do that. I like that. I think I can do it because I'm a good drawer and I'm a painter, but I'm going to do it in my way, and I'm going
yeah.
to do it in my style." And that's, yeah, that's what made him who he was.
And what was fascinating too is, of course, and we also, the documentary really featured his son, right, Rob,
Yes.
Rob Ross, and he is it Rob or is it? Bob Ross
No,
is Rob.
Steve.
No? Is it Steve?
Steve.
Bill.
Come on, bro.
I'm gonna Google this right now. I think of
Wait.
Bob Ross' son. Steve, you're right. Oh my gosh.
It's Steve?
It was Steve. Steve Ross.
Oh, okay. Steve
Yeah.
Ross.
Steve
Okay.
Ross. And the cool thing is that, it was based off his, he was telling the story, right? It was really about,
Yes.
because there was a lot of controversy. And this is what I want to get to. So before we go there, let's talk about his son, right? Steve. And a lot of you, if you followed and watched it, you would recall some of the episodes where he would bring his son. And he would
I never watched those.
You never see. Oh, you
I
gotta watch
never.
it.
I know. I never
Well, you
got
saw
any
it in the
episodes.
documentary. You saw it in
Yeah.
the documentary, and he was very complimentary of his son. Right, like
Yeah.
he's better than I am. He makes,
Yeah.
and I think the biggest thing he told him is like he makes the best mountains. Right?
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. 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 Yes.
So very complimentary. Again, and this is like 80s, 90s. His son had a mullet. I mean,
Yeah.
talk about hairstyles, right? Afro, like 80s, like the perm, and then the mullets, right? It's like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were very fashionable. And I think even in the documentary now, like the current Steve, he still had like a mullet in the stash.
Yes. He kind of does. Yes.
But it was interesting seeing the story, and again, kind of telling it from what we could not see, because this is a wonderful thing about Bob Ross, is that he made it feel like things are all right, things are fine, but in the back there was a lot of drama happening, and even then he kept the school, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what happened, if you watched it, right, that he had a business partner, and of course the business partner did him wrong. And I think they were the Kowalskis.
Yes.
As Annette and Walt. I think
Yeah.
they were a couple. But man, it's like you hear this a lot, Gabby, from you have a talent, someone sees some potential, they want to help you, but then they end up backstabbing you, and that's not cool, and that's kind of what happened. It was like, and it's funny, when I saw it, I could already see it happening, like
from the big yes it was very like sketchy. So a little bit of background about this storyline is that Bob Ross started doing his thing, and this couple, like a very powerful couple, I assume,
had money.
They had like a lot of money. They recently lost their son, and as a coping therapy, the wife Annette started taking painting lessons with him, and they got like very friendly and very involved. We're going to talk about it later, allegedly. And yes, exactly. And they starting like collaborating and working together, and they, as a couple, like a very powerful couple, starting to support him and sponsor him. And eventually they partnered up, and they had this supply business about like paint and brushes and all the supplies you can get to achieve paintings like Bob did. And that was the beginning of the story. And
100%. So they saw the potential, right? They saw the talent. But I think I hate to say this, Gabby, but it always comes down to the root of a lot of evil, and that's money, greed.
Everything. Unfortunately, a lot of things go around money, and even though he passed and he had like a big part of the business, actually this was very shocking to me, because when he was very sick, even in his deathbed, they say it exclusively like deathbed, they try to get a signature from him in order to get his part of the business exactly. And he was like, no, this is my son's. And I mean, how can you do that? Like the man is
literally in his deathbed.
Literally. And they were trying to, okay, we know you're sick, but we still want to do business, so
and instead of, it's like they wanted it all, and it was
unfortunately it didn't work out. I mean, Bob Ross's son does not get any money of all the business that still goes on of I think it's called Bob Ross Supplies or something like that.
It all goes like to that couple. They get all because I think what happened, it was pretty shady. They still found a way. I think, is it Bob Ross's like brother or something? He gave a part of his stuff to him, and he ended up signing over to them, right?
Yeah.
So sad. And they ended up winning. So it's sad. So every time I think about, like, if you ever purchase that paint or anything that has to do with his name, because basically they own his name.
They own
Um,
his name.
yeah. And now, everything goes to them. It's like, oh man, like I feel bad, like, damn, I want to support a Bob Ross shirt, and this and that. Maybe just do it. I would just do it beat up to the end, just saying.
Yeah. So yeah, and the sad part is, like you just said, he was always like showing a very positive side of him and of life. He was like very cheerful and positive
Yeah.
and like be happy and smile and whatever. But behind closed doors, we had no idea. His wife died also, like and later, like the short period of time later, he got the news that he was sick himself. So, and he went on the show and he was like, thank you for the support. As you know, I lost my wife. And he was like very composed. And even then, he was like, okay, but the show must go on.
Go on. Yeah. Speaking of that, too, just to go back even to the show. So, yeah, again, tragic. I mean, it's like, I'm just getting those emotions again, G,
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's like, oh, man. But the positive side is, again, going back to all the wonderful things he did for people. And another thing too, and this is for a lot of creatives, right? People like ourselves and people that are wanting to try projects and do things that they have a passion for. It's also what I really liked is how he started off in the beginning too, where it was just like a room with a black drape, and he would just have his, what is that called, his easel or his stand, and just start painting within those 30 minutes. And he would even have fun. One of the best parts of the documentary that I really enjoyed is how his producer, she would drive her nuts when there was like a few minutes left, right? Like, hey, wrap it up. And he's like, all right, we're gonna put another tree here.
And she's like, come on.
Like,
we have 10 minutes left. Exactly.
Yeah. How are you gonna put a big old tree? And he would just experiment. And I love improv, right? And I feel like that is a sign of improv, right? Because he goes in there, and I think in the beginning, he went in there with the picture of it next to it off camera, and he would replicate the painting. But then and that didn't. I don't think that lasted long. And after that, he said, "Forget it. I'm just gonna go off what I see, what I have."
Yes, exactly. Like I have this in mind, and I'm going to do this. He also said, like, I'm thinking about a lake.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about bleh. And he did it like right there in 30 minutes. But yeah, I remember that. I remember that the producer or director, I don't remember. It was like, okay, come on, you're halfway there. We're like 10 minutes left.
A big old thing, and he pulled it off. He liked to play. He liked to challenge himself. But I think he also enjoyed, getting his producer a little stressed out.
And that's pure talent, right? Like right there. I mean, you could see like completely confidence, charisma, talent. Yeah, I mean,
and that's again what made him attractive, right? Like, oh, this guy, like, he's willing to take a risk and just do it, And I'm like, wow, that's awesome. Yeah. So those are some of the fun memories. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and beyond the painting, but again, I don't know if necessarily a lot of people like watched him to follow exactly the steps of the paint. I think a lot of us watched him just to calm ourselves, and all that feeling a lot of people had from him that he maybe didn't intend to. There was this part also in the documentary with this man said, like, I was in a very dark place in my life, and I was trying even to end it eventually, and I came across Bob Ross, and he saved me. He saved my life. I started painting with him, and he went, I think, to classes with his son, and he was like, I am a changed man because of him, because I needed that cheer in my life, and he saved my life. And I don't think, because some people, I mean, right now, if you watch him, I mean, of course he's not around anymore, but if you can take that and you can be like, okay, I just need to calm down and I just need that peace and whatever. I mean, he had no idea how many people he reached.
Yeah.
Just by being himself and being all collected and positive and,
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I mean, the amount of lives and that he changed and saved is probably, we can't count them, right? There's no way to track that, but that's just one story of many. I'm sure, you know. So I'm thinking another. So that's another great another great thing that stood out to me from there too was the scene. And Gabi, G, you totally can relate to this because you also love New York, right? You've been there and you love it. Was when he
Hmm.
was in that was he was in in New York. What was the big park there?
Central Park.
Central Park. He just showed up and just started
Yes.
painting, and then people would come in with their paintings and they wanted to show him.
Yeah.
It was such a big, and it was like it wasn't planned. I don't think it was planned or something.
I don't think it was planned. Yeah, he was
Yeah.
just like he just got there and started painting, and a lot of people showed up. And like you said, if I drew something, it would just. I think he signed a lot of things, and
Yeah.
he took like a lot of pictures. And I think that was like the first time he was like, "Whoa, I think I'm doing something right."
Yeah.
Like I think I'm getting somewhere. And at the same time, he was like very humble, in my
Yeah.
opinion. Like he loved being around people. I think he knew of his presence with the ladies, and he really enjoyed that part because in some parts of the documentary he was like hugging a lot of people, and all the ladies were like, yeah, like fan like groupies even. And I think he knew about his presence and how good it was to a lot of people.
So basically, he was like the Pedro Infante of his time.
Yeah, Pedro Infante of landscape paintings. Yeah.
Paintings in the U.S. in the 80s and
Yeah.
90s.
But yeah, please, I really encourage you to watch it because I'm sure, I mean, I don't think there's one people out there, again, from our age range that haven't watched him or don't know who he is.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah.
Even people, even younger generations know. My kids know him, right? They even,
Of course.
they recognize. I made a comment to my son recently. Oh yeah, what did I say? I was like, oh yeah, because he's also into, he's into digital drawing, and we got him a drawing thing, and I was just like, how do you like it so far? And he's like, oh, I really like it. It's, I don't have to worry about like erasing and seeing the pencil marks. And I'm like, you know what? I wish you were, got into. How do you feel about painting? He's like, I mean, it's okay. I like to draw. I'm like, dude, I tell you right now, painting's the way to go because you can shake the devil out of it. And he goes, he goes, all right, Bob Ross. Like he right away.
Okay, calm down, Bob Ross. That's
like,
amazing.
That's cool. Yeah, I tell you, like he's iconic, right? I mean, he's definitely well known. He's someone that people, transcend generations.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah,
but,
and the lesson here is, I think, in my opinion, is that stay humble, stay true to yourself, do what you love, what gives you joy, and if you can translate that to making other people happy, I think you are doing a great job just by that. And to the last minute of his life, I'm sure that he enjoyed making people happy.
Yeah.
And again, I don't think he knew exactly how many people to this day he's reaching. And that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I when I saw it, I did cry. I thought it was very sad, that's those final months of his life. But I think he had a very fulfilled life.
Yeah.
Even though with that. So yeah.
That's amazing. 100%. I echo with that. And I think that's where, and it's interesting. We're getting close to October, and of course, one thing that as soon as you said that, I remember, how Day of the Dead. We're going to talk about that in the future podcast. But when you watch, a lot of people probably watch Coco, and maybe a lot of folks here in the U.S. They kind of hear about it, but they don't know a lot of the what it's about. And one of the biggest things that we learn from that in our culture is that we want to be remembered.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like that, we want to have a legacy. We want people, and I think that when I saw that too, I'm thinking the same thing. Like, hey, what are people going to remember me? And it's a hard question to ask, but it's like like Bob, for example. Yeah, people remember you, and
yeah,
you did
of
amazing.
course.
And with great power comes with great responsibility, because to your point, people were hypnotized by him, so he could have easily created his own cult. Like. You know what I mean? Like, beyond, right? Like, people that...
Can you imagine hundreds of people with huge afros, like, walking around?
Yeah.
Like, I would be one of them. I would be one of them, for sure.
Hola, Bob. ¿Cómo estás? Oh, my God. But it's true, right? Like, you see a lot of these other... I mean, we can talk... there's a lot of documentaries of these crazy, cults and things and these like whatever you. And this guy, people with charisma, people just hypnotize and have this thing. And Bob had this thing, but he did it for good.
Yes, exactly. I mean, all this drama and situations behind closed doors that I'm pretty sure he just like tried to keep like, okay, this is not what this is about. And a lot of people, a lot of things are coming up like now with this documentary. And I think his son has like had this thing where I need to come clean. I need to clear his name and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, but it was everything to make everybody else happy, and I appreciate it to this day. To this day. And again, quoting Coco, I don't remember if this is exactly the quote, but if you are remembered, you are not really gone.
Yeah, that's awesome,
right? So so yeah, if he's remembered for his legacy or whatever, or because you remember his afro, whatever it is, you remember him or anybody that marked you, he's going to be around forever.
Yeah, 100%. Well said. Well, way to end this discussion. And again, this
is
our show. Our show is all about having fun and all that, but also really just talking about things like how we see things and
just picture us. Look up to. Yeah. Just picture us in a bar or at a restaurant having a conversation with each other, but we are just sharing this with all of you, and we want to hear from you too. So yeah.
I love that.
Go watch it.
I love that visual, G, like us sitting in a bar, and then here comes our listeners sitting with us.
Exactly.
And then more and more, and we're just like having a good time. Hey, let's have a conversation.
Let's talk about Bob Ross.
Remember Bob Ross? Yeah.
Do you? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Do you remember this? Do you remember that? But you know what? Let's start talking about what's to come. So we are coming. We're getting close to the end of September. Another month. Can you believe it? Year's coming to an end. But one of our favorite months is coming up in October. So we wanted to kind of take some, throw some ideas out there. What would be some cool topics? And some of the things we already started brainstorming would be like, hey, would an episode about scary stories, urban legends, right? Things that we grew up.
Yeah. Movies, even other podcasts, documentaries about I don't know, but this is going to be our month. I mean, specifically, if you didn't know this, we tried to launch this project in September because we want to start with the Mexican aspect of us. Mm-hmm. And that's why we were like storming. Yes, exactly, because we wanted to be in September. But October and Halloween and ghosts and ghouls, that is like so we're very excited. I remember we had like when we started this, we had like everything like written down, and okay, we're going to have like a 60-minute podcast, and we're going to have this, and we're going to have, and the first things we did was like the outline for all the month of October. Like scary movies, scary music, or I don't know, you name it.
Scary.
Yeah, everything's scary. Exactly.
Scary spice.
Exactly. No, so let us know what do you want to watch here about October, please. It would help us. I mean, we have a lot of things already,
but we want to narrow it down.
Yes, exactly. If you have something like, hey, you should talk about this or The Exorcist, which, oh my God, yes, please.
Yes, I think Gabby likes the more darker stuff. When she says that, I'm going, no, I don't want to talk about The Exorcist.
Oh, you don't? You don't? See?
It's a great movie. It's a great movie.
Aries.
Pisces. I know.
I was going to point at you, but you're on the other side. Yeah.
So again, I would love to see that. Yeah, we have so many ideas and so many things that we just can talk about that we want to hear, like what you want, right? What are the things that you want us to talk about? Because again, there's a lot of urban legends, ghost stories, right? I'm sure that maybe we've either encountered or had a ghost story, or we know family who has, or again, those urban legends of things that we grew up, because our parents would always try to give us those stories of be careful, right? You better listen, because if you don't,
va a venir el coco.
El cucuy.
El coco.
El coco.
Sí.
But
we can also let us know if you want us to dress up for Halloween.
Oh God,
that would be hilarious.
What are you
that would be
hilarious.
That
Do
would
you
be
have
hilarious.
do you
Hey,
have already an idea?
I want C to dress up like Bob Ross. That would be amazing.
Yeah, that'd be
That
cool
would
if I
be
could have his
amazing.
voice. Hey, give me his confidence. Yeah, give me his
Right?
confidence.
Right? We can like dress up for the Halloween episode. I don't know. Just let
Yeah,
us know.
yeah,
October is going to be exciting. We have we have another episode of September where we're just figuring out what's going to be, but
yeah.
stay tuned for October because definitely it's going to be so much fun.
It's gonna be
And
jam packed.
yes, yes, exactly.
Yep, jam packed. And we're also working now, starting to come up with a list of some guests that we're gonna have on and talk about these topics with as well. Have fun with them as well. Enjoy a good conversation, a good drink, a
Yes.
good laugh, right?
Yes. Yes, yes,
And
yes. Yes.
yes, claro que
Yes.
sí. But all right, to close out, G, I know we're gonna, but I think it's always me being curious. I want to tell you more. I want to ask you a couple more questions about horoscopes.
Oh my God. Okay, shoot.
All right, you nervous or you scared a little
I
bit?
am because last time you threw me under the bus.
What?
And I was like, hey, I'm not ready. And I promised everybody I was going to be ready right now. And I don't know if I am.
No,
So
no,
shoot.
it's okay. We're not expecting a reading right now, not at all. But you said you had a lot of books, right? So tell me about what. So again, you told me
Just a couple. Yeah.
you were curious about, you came across, was it a newspaper or something?
A magazine.
And
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
a
yeah.
magazine, and you really got intrigued, and someone said you're gonna have a great day. You had a great day.
I
Then from there, what happened after that? Like, did you start? Was the avid reader of that magazine? I imagine. And then you started probably listening to radio. How did what happened after that?
I mean, yeah, I had that magazine and then got more magazines. So I was like, oh yeah, because all the horoscopes that are at the end of every magazine. And I was like, oh, okay, this week is going to be like blah, blah, blah. I mean, again, I don't run my day by what it says right there. I just take what helps. I believe in energies, and yeah, the planets are like in some alienation, or I don't know how you say that, but they can help to energy or whatever, and the moon rising and the sun signs and whatever. And I got very intrigued. And of course I watched Walter Mercado growing up, and I was like, whoa, that's amazing. And a bunch of other horoscope readers here and there, and of course now on social media it's everywhere. And I follow a lot of accounts on Twitter, and I have actually this lady that does amazing readings, so I'm going to try to reach out to her and maybe see if she can join us someday. I know you're going to be like permanently rolling your eyes at us, but I think it's going to be an interesting topic. I know a lot of people don't share or don't even believe. I just think it's fun. Again, I don't rule my life out of what it's written and the daily readings or whatever. But I just like I love the part of my particular zodiac sign, because when I read something about it, I'm like, yeah, that's me. That's totally me.
That's totally
like
me.
Yeah, that's absolutely me. And this is funny because every time I meet somebody or we started talking, eventually one of my question is, what's your sign?
Are you pretty good at guessing? Are you pretty good at guessing when you meet them and get to know them?
Right away, no, because I mean, I don't know them, but if I know them for a little while, I can tell, yeah, I can see that. Right. When you said I'm a Pisces, I'm like, of
I can
course.
see that.
Of course he is. So yeah, that's funny. I don't know. That's funny for me, and I really, I don't know. It's very entertaining for me.
That's something that you're just based. It's like like we all are nerds of something, right? Like we just consume and we just get obsessed with it, and we're all in, right? And that's one of the things. Yeah.
It's energy, and I don't know. I find it funny. I find it funny. I think a couple of people watching I kind of relate. Like maybe a couple.
a couple. We'll
Hopefully.
see. Yeah. Well, let us know if this is something that you believe in, that you also run your life by. Because there's some people probably that like literally every day they read it and they live around that, right? That's like
I
extreme,
know.
right?
That's extreme. Yeah, that's extreme. And that cannot be healthy. Like every extreme of anything cannot be healthy. So please just find the
In
fun part
moderation.
of it. Just find the fun part of it and whatever suits you. Don't
Because there's
run your day by it.
because there's also I can imagine there's people out there going like they're trying to find like that one the one true love, right? And they're kind of looking like, am I gonna find him today? Where am I gonna go? And they're obsessed with it, right? And using that maybe to find that. Again, carried away, extremes. Like it's like
Yeah,
relax.
like you're going to meet the love of your life this week, and you're like, okay,
Everybody you meet, are you
that's
the one? Are you the one?
are you? Yeah, yeah. You just find again, just find the fun part about it, and don't get like obsessed. I
Yeah.
guess
So be on the lookout for the guests that we will have, and you know what? We just you
I'm on
brought them
it.
up, so we're on it. So be ready for it. It's coming. It's coming soon. Also, maybe that's another thing we can talk about. Did you see the Huerta Mercado documentary?
No, not yet. Not yet. Yes,
Oh,
yes, yes, yes. I don't know what happened. I have it on my list, definitely, but I haven't. I promise. I promise I'm going to watch it.
which was amazing when you watch it. No, I'm not gonna be stopped, but when you watch it, I can't wait to talk about it because it was really.
For sure, for sure. We can talk about it.
You're
We can have
probably
this. We can have like a series about where we talk about one documentary specifically. Hey, that's
yeah,
a good
one a
idea,
month,
people. Yeah, yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, I
once
haven't.
a month.
You watched The Last Dance, the Michael Jordan?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Oh,
Oh
that's a
yeah.
way.
I
That's
love
amazing.
that.
That's a whole other episode as well.
Yeah, yeah, because you're a big sports fan, so it makes sense, of course.
Yes.
And then you
Yeah.
grew up around that time seeing those championships. But again, not a big basketball fan, but maybe a
I'm
Jordan fan.
not, but I'm a Jordan. I mean, again, if you are
You
in
grew up in
our
the
age,
'90s,
yeah, because
yeah,
exactly, you definitely know who Michael Jordan is, of
yeah,
course.
he was
And
an
I watch it
icon.
all. And I remember when I watched the documentary, I was like, okay, I'm going to
I
get into
remember that.
basketball. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
Yeah,
And I remember at that time, I was like, okay, who should I root for? And I was like, okay, I'm not going to do Lakers because that's too cliche. I don't know, blah, blah. And I'm going to be a Celtics fan. I mean, I don't know anything about them, but I was okay. Nobody roots for them like that I know of, so that should be my team. And and I don't know. I don't know who should. Hey, tell me down below what should be my basketball team, people. I need to
all
know.
right. Well, I already told you what it should be, but I'm not gonna
You
pursue that.
you told me about NFL.
Phoenix Suns, the Phoenix Suns.
Oh,
Remember
oh,
Booker?
oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, I had a huge crush on Charles Barkley back in the day.
What?
Yes, I was like, oh, I don't know when Space
What?
Jam came. Yes, I was like, oh, and he played in the Suns, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So maybe that can be
What?
an option. Yeah.
I would have never, because again, I've seen a couple of your examples because we all have like, crushes and, famous people, but you have an interesting pattern there, G. I don't even like, it's like you go
I
from,
have all my
from,
crushes are athletes. Actually, almost every one of my crushes are
yeah, but
athletes, and
I
they're
mean, they're
like,
all different. They all look
yeah.
different,
I bet.
which is,
What else? Who else do you know of?
well, you told, if it's not an athlete, so say Pedro Infante, right? You said,
Oh yeah.
big, right?
I mean,
Yeah.
but he's like close to my heart because he's Mexican. He's a charro and he sings
Yeah.
beautifully. Whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But
But who
no, I mean,
else?
I mean, Roger Federer is like, I
Roger
love him.
Federer. Okay.
I love him.
Tennis, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Aaron Judge from the Yankees.
From the Yankees.
I love
okay.
him. Jimmy G from the 49ers.
Garoppolo. Okay, very cliche. Okay.
Very cliche. Yeah, yeah, very cliche.
The quarterback.
But
I
again,
love the quarterback.
exactly, like very cliche. Like, ah, the cutest guy is a quarterback. Blah, blah, blah. No, but no. But yeah, I remember when Space Jam came.
And Barkley, that is
And
a
Barkley.
curveball.
That's crazy, right? I don't know why. Don't ask
Yeah, I
me
was going to ask
why.
you why. What is it?
I don't
Maybe his
know.
confidence. Yeah, like he was.
I
Like
don't know, but I
he kind of
remember.
reminds me of like he had that he still does, right? He tells you how it is. Like he doesn't care. Like he'll unapologetically.
Exactly,
He's direct.
exactly. Like
Yeah.
such like, and maybe I don't know.
It kind of reminds me a little bit like not to that level, but like a Muhammad Ali. You know how Muhammad Ali was all about,
Yes.
like, very, very confident, cocky,
Yeah.
but also like, in your, very, very, just didn't care, right? Well,
Yeah.
He has his point of view. I can kind of see Barkley that way. Maybe that's what it is, Gabby. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe I was very young, so I was maybe just like But I don't know. I cannot explain it. So
I
please
think a
don't
lot of
ask.
people just like drop their jaw going, "What?
Like
Like
what?
I know." All right. Well, okay. Well, folks, I think that's a great way to end today's episode. Is
I'm
Gabby's
sorry.
crush for Barkley?
Gabby, yeah, the crush of the day.
Crush of the day, Charles Barkley.
Charles
And
Barkley.
and I know
Hi,
he's gonna
if
be
you're
watching.
watching.
Hey, Charles, what's up, buddy?
Hi.
Yeah, well, love to have you on and talk about space jams and how you you know what's your secret sauce.
Yeah.
But all right, I mean, well, again, this is a great discussion. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Today's episode was all about Bob Ross and documentary. Yeah, so if you watched it, tell us what your thoughts are in the down below,
In the comments below,
or even on our sites. Right, you're going to see all of our platforms come up. Yeah, tell us what are your thoughts about it? How did you see Bob Ross? Were you also a big fan like us? Do you have great memories? Whatever, right? Did you disagree with something that we said? Do you feel that maybe the Kowalskis were the good guys and the Rosses were the bad guys? I don't know how you sell it. Tell us your perspective. But that is today's episode. Again, an hour flies so fast. But the good news is we'll be back again next week.
Next week.
As we
For
paint
sure.
happy trees and mountains
Yes.
and landscapes across the canvas.
And we're going to be very happy next week to see you again. So please stay tuned for next episode. This can be a thing. This can be definitely a thing. We should do this soon. And we should have like a guest with an amazing voice so we can
we should find
three of us like this.
ASMR.
So let us know if you want to be part of our ASMR episode.
You have the talent.
Exactly. We need like a good voice. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, 100%.
So thank you everybody again for watching. Stay tuned. Please follow us on Twitter, on Instagram for updates. We're going to be back next week with another interesting episode. I'm pretty sure about it.
We're going to wrap up
so much.
September strong.
Yes, absolutely. And we cannot wait for October to be here.
It's coming, folks. I mean, you see already trying to decorate. I'm going to work on that as well. I'll give you an update on my decorating as well. So we'll see.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
From here, we're signing off in Stache Sargentosi. Hasta luego.
And from Mexico City, the Lash. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye. Bye.